Your kitchen office is also your kitchen, and sometimes you just don't stop at 5 o'clock.
I don't know about y'all, but I close that laptop at 5 p.m. Hi, I'm Gina.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Job Search Stories.
Today, we're going to be diving into how to decide what type of work is right for you.
When I was starting out, I really didn't know the difference between freelance, contractor, full-time work. And in the line of work that Jen and I are in, and even in the line of work I started out with in journalism, it makes a big difference. I love to start out with the viewer question. And Jenny wrote, I really want to get a remote job, but my parents think that it's bad right out of college. What are the pros and cons of remote work versus in person?
It's a really important topic, and I think it's one that became more prevalent during the pandemic. People started really coming into more remote opportunities, then we see more return to work. And so as you're job searching, you really have to weigh the pros and cons to decide what type of job and work environment might be right for you.
Let's start off with remote work. I don't think I'd be the professional I am today if I didn't have that in-office experience.
Honestly, I graduated during the recession, so I would have taken any job out of college.
You did share that in our first season, so I do understand that there's different circumstances. Would you take a remote job as your first job out of college?
Absolutely.
I think I would too. If my living situation was ideal, had that strong Wi-Fi, I could make that work for me. What are the pros and cons of remote work?
Well, a definite pro is the ability to be a digital nomad, to have that flexibility to decide where you want to live and where you want to work. It could be nice to have the freedom to work in a different state, work at a coffee shop, work from bed. It just gives you that flexibility, and that's really nice. There's also this advantage to being able to access global opportunities. You're not stuck to just the local market. You can find opportunities in other states and other countries, perhaps. Really kind of opens up what's available to you. It can even be a cost saving. Not having to spend money on gas or commute or professional clothing. It really has some benefits there. When we're thinking about the cons, some remote workers might have difficulty with the onboarding process. You have to really be able to drive that for yourself. And so you've got to be really proactive, ask a lot of questions, make connections. Another con could be you're just not able to network quite as much. So again, you're kind of limited because if you're not actively trying to make those connections, it's just not the same as working in person. It is really important for remote workers to draw clear boundaries. Because when you're in person, I'm at the office, this is my work time. When you're working from home, those lines can be blurred. Your kitchen office is also your kitchen. And sometimes you just don't stop at 5 o'clock.
I don't know about y'all, but I close that laptop at 5 p.m. I close it. If not, I'm going to go crazy. Digital nomads, that is like a new phenomenon for me. I know you have a story about meeting some digital nomads recently.
I gotta be honest, being able to meet people who actually live that digital nomad lifestyle was almost like meeting a celebrity to me. I've been around for a while and I'm like, y'all have a home? Y'all are living out of cars? You're living in hostels? It's just so crazy to me how people can live on the fly like that and just not have that plan set. To those who can, it's fascinating.
I need to be able to go home to my little dog. Some people, they love to be free. We want to know, for the viewers who are watching at home, have you ever thought about being a digital nomad? Let us know in the comments down below if you ever thought about being a digital nomad. Do you feel like remote work has been damaging for young professionals who haven't been able to really network in meaningful ways?
I wouldn't say that it's damaging, but I would say that you do have to be more proactive. You really have to take that ownership because the opportunities to connect with people are still available, especially within the work environment. You can still connect over Zoom or, whatever kind of meeting platform you're using, have those one-to-one meetings, those conversations, informational interviews. You could also connect offline. You can join meetups or professional organizations, wherever you're at, and meet other people that are still interested in the field that you're in. But what's really interesting is the value of the face-to-face interaction. You do learn a lot as an emerging professional from established professionals. So when you're in that in-person environment, you're not just learning about how to do a job, you're learning about how to be a professional and a really great employee. And so there's a lot of things that you can't learn in school that you can only learn on the job. So there is definite value to being able to work in person.
Maybe that's also an opportunity to network with people that maybe you wouldn't have had the opportunity to network with if you could only apply for jobs or get jobs in your area.
No, that's a really great point.
I love it when you compliment me like that. That just does something for me. What are some tips for finding a remote job?
One, you can have a targeted search. If you're using a platform like Indeed, you can search for words like remote, at home, work from home, home-based. We even have a filter that allows you to just search for remote jobs. And then if you know that you're in the search for a remote job, you can do some preparation. Test your tech, make sure that your laptop or you have access to a computer where you can do some video interviews, make sure your mic works, your audio, all of that. In addition to using remote and other keywords within the actual search bar at Indeed, you can actually also add that preference to your Indeed profile.
When I first started, I did not really understand the difference between freelance, contractor, full-time. Can you explain the different types of employment status?
Well, I'm going to explain some common ones because it can get really specific. Of course, the most common might be full-time and part-time, and those are really classifications when you're working for that specific company. Then you get into freelance and contract, which are both positions where you're not exactly working for that company. For contract, you might be working for a staffing agency and you're working a contract for another company. And for freelance, you could be taking contracts where you're just offering your services as an individual. And the distinctions and classification can also impact things like benefits, commitments, and also how much autonomy you can have. If you're working freelance, you've got more flexibility to work on projects in your own time. Whereas if you're working part-time or full-time, you're usually working a set schedule.
If you're freelance, maybe that means you can try a bunch of different things. I kind of wish I did that when I was just starting out.
I definitely think about freelance sometimes, just like the really creative people like copywriters or script writers who have that flexibility, one, to work wherever they want to work, but they can also stack the number of projects that they're working on, right? And so you've got a lot of control into determining how much money you want to make. But, there's also the flip side to that, depending on how well the job market's doing. Sometimes there might not be that many freelance opportunities available.
We've talked about multiple job offers, but have we talked about having multiple jobs versus having one job?
Having multiple jobs is fairly common. In the Indeed 2024 Workforce Insights Report, 50% of workers surveyed say they have or are working multiple jobs at the same time. I've worked multiple jobs at the same time. When I did, it's because I wanted a little bit of extra spending money.
Cost of living. A lot of people are worried about it. I'm worried about it sometimes. I'm sure you worry about it. How can people cover the realities of these rising costs?
Whenever somebody I'm working with comes to me with this type of question, there's a few things that I talk to them about. One is really working through their budget and first identifying how much does it really cost to be them. And so we've talked about this formula before, but I'll introduce it again. It's the 50-30-20. 50% of your income should go to must-haves, 30% nice to haves, 20% should go to debt and savings. And again, ideal situation. Before you go out and think about adding new jobs or finding a new job, you can really start where you're currently at. You can look and ask for an increase or look for promotion opportunities. If nothing's available, definitely start looking for at least a new job. We've talked about this before, but when you job hop or find something new, you can typically negotiate a 10 to 20% increase in salary just from going to a new company. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to be able to increase your salary before you get to just stacking more jobs on your plate. The ideal is to find a long-term solution rather than a short-term one.
Just find what works for you. Thanks for giving me all the options. Oh, that was cute. What tips do you have for determining what type of work might be right for you?
Personally, you can weigh things like flexibility over stability. Do you want a set schedule? Do you want more autonomy in your work schedule. You also look at things that like what's going on in the market. Sometimes there's not a lot of opportunity for full-time jobs. Some industries actually hire a lot more contract and then eventually convert to full-time. So you really need to see what's going on in your area. You'll also see that there are spikes in different type of work depending on the season. During the holidays, we see more temporary jobs. So that could be an opportunity for you to maybe stack on something temporary if you're looking to make more money. But ultimately, you really got to decide what matters most to you. Are you looking for a role that provides benefits, stability, a set work schedule, or gives you more flexibility and autonomy? And then once you decide, what you want as an individual, then you know what type of work to be looking for.
I love it. Those are amazing tips, as always. You're a superstar. That's all we have in this episode. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Job Search Stories. Please make sure you subscribe to the Indeed YouTube channel, especially if you're in the middle of your job search journey. And leave us a comment down below if you want us to answer any of your questions. Jen is here for you. She is our resident career coach. Bye.
Bye.
Also, who aren't great at setting boundaries.
I don't know. That's remote work at its fine. That's advanced for more. Has been.
I
feel like I look like a news anchor from like the 70s.
You do.
Like full on Anchorman right now, right?
You do.
Let's take that back.
I can take it back.
Let's take it all the way back.